Well, I was born in Los Angeles, born and raised. First place where I lived was East LA, but now I moved out here to South Central, but just LA. See, I grew up with like craziest things around me, like the wildest environment, gangs, violence, drugs. I was involved into like gang life. I mean, what was I doing? I was out there in the street day and night, showing love for my hood or whatever. I mean, once I get into doing the art, it's just like I'm not even here. I'm in the artwork. I'm in it, I just free myself. I lose my head. I'm into this, creation. And once I finish, it's just like a great accomplishment. Just like I did something better for my life.
Well, it was just a big accident. I was looking to buy a house, that was it. And I found this place. It was basically a tear down, and it had all the things I was looking for in a house. So I bought it and saved it from being torn down. Some developers wanted to tear it down and split the land up. So once I was in, I found out that someone named Nelbert Chouinard owned it, and I had no idea who that was. A friend of mine was actually teaching at Cal Arts, and she was just asking me what's been going on. And I said, yeah, I bought this house, someone named Chouinard lived there, She's like, Chouinard, wait a minute. There's a dorm out here, there's a building or a dorm named after Chouinard. Chouinard preceded Cal Arts. She said, yeah, there's a book. You gotta read this book, So she said, call the librarian. So I called the librarian at Cal Arts. She says, yeah, there's a book. There's a guy named Perrine, who wrote it. So I called him and I said, heard you wrote a book about Chouinard. I just bought a house that was Nelbert Chouinard's house. Bob, he really was into Chouinard and the school and the history. He taught there, he went there. And I think he took it upon himself to see to it that the concept and the idea was preserved and carried forward. I was just talking to Bob, and I said, well, why didn't you guys, if it was so important to everybody, why didn't you restart it or something like that? They were barred from doing that because the name Chouinard was held by Disney. So I said, okay, that's fine. And then I started thinking, I might as well just look into it. So I actually went down to the downtown library and researched the name and found that it was available, So without actually asking him permission or anything, I just incorporated the name, initially as a nonprofit. And I brought it to him. I said, hey, I got your name. So then later he asked me to be one of the president. At first I told him, you should look around and find somebody. You guys are the ones that are passionate about this, and it's your thing, But eventually I got to thinking, and he asked, he really wanted me to do it, so I just went ahead and did it,
Draw the idea really came out of Torche and I talking about how you train students.
Mechanically or technically, you know, it comes down to drawing. That was a big thing at Chouinard. You can see it, you can draw it, you can make it. Then it's real.
Through perception and through drawing, they essentially learn how to copy, and then from there they learn how to imagine. So imagining drawings is really the end result.
Because we believe that if you can draw the idea, you can do anything. Art education, the need for people to reclaim the drawing experience, the hand, the eye, the hand to the tip of the pencil and the tip of the charcoal. That is almost a lost notion in society today.
We did by far our best work in the inner city school program that we have with the city of LA.
Bringing children in those neighborhoods into classes and learning how to draw is in a sense pulling them into the idea, you know, of drawing the idea, and then from there they get to relate to a larger culture that's outside of their world.
Well, I was asked to join the board because they knew that I was interested. I wanted to put something together. We ultimately thought that we could create a school, you know.
I went over to Dave Fouget's house and met with these Chouinard people, and we'd there talk about it and talk about having a get-together and talk about starting the school, always laughingly, but then after a while we weren't laughing when we started the school.
We've started with kids of high school age in the park system. We've started a program of bringing the kind of disciplines or undisciplines that the old school represented, and as part of that process taking them around to the various studios of people who went to the old school to say, this is what it can lead to. You can do this. You know, these guys were no better off than you are when they started.
Why is art important? Because if I didn't have art, I would have nothing else. What I like about it is just expression. Express yourself in any way you want. We're always getting to my friend's house. There's people that say, man, I grew up without a father, I grew up without a family. But I mean, no one's pointing a gun in your head and telling you to do it. And that's what I'd say, that's all right, because there ain't no one pointing a gun in my head to tell me to get in the game. Let's go through it, come on, bro. And we're gonna be like, oh damn, that's bad.
This is me. Yeah, it's Homie Snow. I don't know that. I don't want to talk, dog.
Are you so shy?
I don't know, dog.
It's like a drug to me. That's what it is. That's my drug. You know, I don't need no other drugs to make me feel good. You know, art is my fix. That's what it gave me, stability. You know, because, man, I remember getting arrested, you know, just looking at mom's face, like how she felt. It's my family, and they're looking at me, you know, with handcuffs, my hands behind my back, and that's not cool. I mean, like tagging on the walls, yeah, it's pretty legal. But there's people that let you do it, like stores, like if you go, just show them, oh look, I know how to tag, I got my cans, they let you tag.
Damn, Curly, you be coming out with some crazy ass designs, dog, like a style and shit. But like, what's this shit? Like, ¿qué es esto? Like, what is it? Like, low key? Damn. Oh yeah, I see it, dog. I see it. The U, the R, the L, the Y, Curly.
So, this is called the Curly. This is a character I do. It's supposed to be me, because well, I usually draw like a little afro on it, and I draw a cap on it, so there's a cap right here.
Nah, I don't want to talk. Here, y'all can do it.
Now you do it.
Nah.
I doesn't want to talk. But yeah, this is why art is important. Keeps us busy. Art classes.
There was a long history of Nelbert Chouinard going to the high schools of LA to talk to the students. A lot of these students that have become very renowned, you know, went to high school in what is now considered the inner city.
But living in the hood doesn't mean it's the hood, you know. Like I said, I was born and raised here. I feel really comfortable. So I go to Tokyo, you know, and I go up live against these Japanese master calligraphers, graffiti guys and all that, and we go up with paintbrushes, you know. And they're all asking me, they go, hey, you know, what's happening in LA and all that stuff because of the movies and things, and to our weather, to what we have some of the best graffiti writers in all the world, you know, here in LA. And we have some of the hardest laws as against the writers here in LA. You know, it's really tough. The whole world watches LA. So this to me is just as important as designing a t-shirt or having a good painting on a museum wall. I need to do it all to get real. I need street cred, and I need museum. Out on the streets, there are other issues, you know. It's about being out in the streets and all that. So, you know, in some ways you gotta do it all. You gotta do gallery stuff and street stuff. You draw the whole thing?
Yeah, except for that little triangle. Yeah, what we were supposed to do here is just cut off that little triangle.
Yeah.
And just like figure our way out. Like just measure it out from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good trick. You could talk a good line, but it comes down, you gotta finish it. Mm-hmm. You're only that of what you finished, man. You're only as good as what last piece that you did. And here's another bit of advice. You're gonna be remembered by your worst piece. Don't put any whack out there, man, because people are gonna remember, oh, you're the guy who did that, you know, chueco finger or something in that hand. People remember the worst piece you do, you know, so I mean, don't do, you know, crap out there. So it's ST, and then there's the letters SB right there, especially Saint Sebastian. He's the saint that he was up on the cross and he wouldn't die. And they shot arrows at him. Remember, have you seen that scene with all these arrows in his body? Yeah, so he wouldn't die, and then they finally had to take him down and cut off his head or something like that. So this was to my brother David, that he's a survivor, you know. He's the Saint Sebastian that they can't kill.
This is something that I just wrapped around myself. Let's put it this way. And that's why I can play it so well now, because I don't have to move anything. This place is really okay. What it is I had collected all these different bills over the years and years. All of a sudden I'm going and thinking, oh my God, because of the way I arranged it, it was almost like it was an accident. It was all these chords started happening. I came to Goode Art School from Washington State in 1957. I went to Chouinard. I stayed there 2 years. When I got out, I had my first show at Ferris Gallery. I was in a group show in '59, and then the first show in 1961. I actually had people ask me, where did you get that? I said, well, we were having a sale at the Tourist Center about a year ago, and I decided to buy one. And now every little twist is on on a little talk show. They say, I'm a singer, and God gave me my talent. I'm an artist. And I go, you're an artist? And I go, oh, damn it. You make me want to shoot myself, you know? I don't use a computer either. I don't have a cell phone. I don't do any of that. We all have some problem when it happens like this. I didn't grow up with a father. I never got the kind of love that I wanted when I was young. This wasn't a family that kissed and hugged each other. And my sense was the only real love was if you were famous. So that has been my problem all along.
The morality of Llyn Foulkes, you know, being true to his vision and true to his political and his social issues is I think what I got out of Chouinard's.
When Jerry Springer first came out, and that started when the whole thing. And I remember seeing all these people, these really dumb people getting up there and hitting each other. And I said, first I was really appalled, and I said, well, maybe people will look at that and they'll think, well, I don't want to be like that. I mean, that's awful, you know. And well, just the opposite. It's like, I'm dumb like that. I could be on it too. And all of a sudden, you're proud of being dumb. And thank you, Warhol. You're probably right. Probably 15 minutes of fame. You were the first one. In a me first generation, it's all about me. Me and so-and-so went to the store. Me and so-and-so did that. Me and so-and-so did that. I keep looking for the young people to come up and do something about it. One more time, boys. The inner city really needs something like that. But you know, to give people a chance, where else do they do that?
Chouinard was a special thing. Chouinard was the real thing.
In the first year, I did a complete 180.
And I think that Chouinard always had that feeling that the art spirit lived there.
It was always my dream. You know, Chouinard's was famous then. People have lost track of it now, but in those days, that was the place.
It was a total experience.
And I remember Mrs. Chouinard vividly walking around, lording it over everybody. She was a big, powerful woman. She wore homely print dresses and sensible shoes and not an interesting hairdo.
And everyone knew when she was coming. The faculty and the administration would let it be known that Mrs. Chouinard was coming, so everyone would be on their best behavior.
Mrs. Chouinard used to come out with her cane and onto the courtyard. If she saw people sitting around, she'd slam her cane down on the table and say,
"Get to work. Don't just sit around here. Go get to work. Get back to your room."
Slam her cane down on the table. Everybody'd run real quick.
She believed in discipline and art being one and the same.
She was actually very kind and sweet. Had a couple of friends, one who's passed away now, who couldn't afford to go to school and would go into her on a semester by semester basis, the same as Mrs. Chouinard. I just can't pay this year or this term. And she'd say, just go, don't tell anybody. Just go audit the classes.
She was such a presence, a true teacher, the soul of a teacher. What led me to Chouinard? It was so long ago, I can assure you. I had been modeling for an artist in San Francisco, a brilliant, brilliant fashion artist named Betty Breeder. And she illustrated for Joseph Magnin, and that was a big deal in those days. I used to watch her work, and I used to say to myself, I could do that. So I came down here, and my mother paid my tuition, but she didn't give me any spending money. So I wound up modeling there and just picking up a little bit from what the teacher said.
Man Ray came to the school once. He said, we're all cowards. You know, he got our attention. Cowards, oh, that's very interesting. He said, you all want to make the next work have something to do with the work you just did. As if to say that you could prevent that from occurring. He said, look, I'm in my studio in the morning. I'm painting realist paintings. In the afternoon, I'm in the dark room inventing photographs. I'm not trying to make one thing connected to another, but it is.
My father was dubious about me going to that school to begin with, and he was dubious about me wanting to be an artist. You know, it wasn't practical enough for him. And then he read an article in his favorite magazine, Post magazine, about, it was an article about Walt Disney. And in it, it explained that Walt Disney was a benefactor to the school. So that changed his mind completely. And he said, must be good.
My father, who was a sort of a distant raconteur in this town, one day came and grabbed me when I was 14 and took me to Chouinard's and signed me in to night school. And then my father disappeared into the woods again. He was a great artist. He was really the true artist of my family. But he was such a scoundrel that we're all lucky that he disappeared into the woods.
A couple of my friends, Jerry McMillan and Ed Ruscha, both lived in Oklahoma City, and we all kind of grew up together. And I was sitting out in a car talking to Jerry McMillan the night before he was leaving. He was getting ready to go back to Shire, and he was trying to talk me into going. And he said, man, you should come out here, it's really great. And so I said, well, you know, I'll think about it. And we talked maybe an hour or two longer, and then we kept talking about it. I said, hey, hang on just a minute. I said, I'll go with you. I went and just packed some clothes in my bag, and that was it, and had $90 with me.
Well, I thought I was going to go into animation or cartooning, because when I went to high school, I liked to draw cartoons, but that's about all I had any propensity for. I was just a sort of lower middle class Jewish kid from the San Fernando Valley, and I didn't know shit about art or anything else, really.
It was something that they used to do, and I think they still do, is encourage kids to come on Saturday. They give you a scholarship. They probably approached the elementary school, and they picked out the kids that were the art kids. And so Lucian and Melvin and myself all went to Chouinard on Saturdays. I think my frustration with ceramics was I couldn't get enough tools. You know, ceramics is about volume. The saying is that you're not buying the part of the pot that's there, you're buying the part that isn't. This is a printing office, crossroads of civilization, refuge of all the arts against the ravages of time, armory of the fearless truth against whispering rumor, incessant trumpet of trade. From this place words may fly abroad, not to perish on waves of sound, not to vary with the writer's hand, but fixed in time, having been verified in proof. Friend, you stand on sacred ground. This is a printing office. It always makes me a little bit sort of choked up.
My whole attitude changed, believe me, my world changed at that point, to where I understood for the first time in my life, real freedom. One of my instructors said, "What side of the line are you drawing on?" Well, that wiped me out.
I mean, it was almost like a religion. You know, everybody kind of just wanted to do this no matter what. It wasn't even conscious, but what we did is encouraging each other to do something that was totally different from what we'd seen before.
I made this collage using cigarette butts. One of the instructors, Bill Moore, who was always a thorn in my side anyway, came into this exhibit and he saw my collage with cigarette butts and lit it on fire.
And it was downtown. It was in Westlake Park. It was, you know, during my tenure, they dragged 2 people out of the lake that had been killed.
And all the gingerbread houses around the neighborhood, they would send us on drawing assignments, and we'd have to make drawings of gingerbread houses.
You know, they weren't trying to turn out anything like a cookie cutter product.
Well, let me just tell you a little story. Let me tell you my Chouinard story. When I went to class, there was this really famous black woman, huge, voluptuous. Everybody drew her. She was quite famous. Sitting in the middle of the class on the model podium, and being 14, this was the first time I've ever seen anything like this. And finally, after about a half an hour, I said, "My God, okay, all right, lads. I think I've soaked enough of this." Just as I was about to put a mark on the paper, this guy walked in, real shaggy, bohemian, and with this rough-looking dog, and he said, "I want everybody to put away your art supplies. I want you to get out of here, and I want you to go home and call Hiroshima and talk to somebody that experienced the atomic bomb." I can't go home and call Hiroshima from my house. My mom would flip out. I said, "How am I going to do that?" I said, "I'll have to do it from a payphone." Figuring how many quarters is it going to take in 1963 to call Hiroshima on a payphone. And so anyway, that was my first day of class. He threw us all out. And this guy was a guy named John Altoon.
Any of the instructors or any of the students at the time thought of themselves as artists. It wasn't until you left school that you actually took on the responsibility, the mantle of being an artist.
The chemistry there was very healthy and strong. And that's why there's so many artists today that went to Chouinard that are still practicing art.
That was my first watercolor, and when I was little. And let's see, this is a friend of mine named Maria who poses. She's a sculptor. The aroma of the studios, the smell of the turpentine and the oil paints, and these great artists working. They may have been young, but you could tell they were already going to be great artists. And to think that it had all become so commercial, you have to work at it every single day. You have to get up in the morning and do it, rain or shine, 7 days a week.
At the end of that road, you know what I mean, is it a life worth living, you know? I don't know. I have no regrets. I definitely don't want to redo any day. I definitely want to go back and undo anything, you know? It's all been kind of exhausting, but worth it.
I want to get a place where we can have a school.
Develop a program that goes, 2 years of college, expand the park program.
Multidiscipline, commercial as well as fine art.
To get them to understand about drawing the idea as being a very powerful tool.
We tried to. There wasn't enough energy there to keep it going.
We just were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Dave has a lovely fantasy about getting the old school over on Grandview back. We're never going to make enough money as an art school to buy that building.
We definitely want to continue, and in our own way, whether it happens, whether the foundation runs out of money, bankrupts or whatever, the artist still exists.
I hope the foundation can get something done so Mrs. Chouinard will be remembered, because she was a grand old lady.
Because, I mean, as you notice, this is like another room. It's smaller than the other one where I used to be at. Yeah, this is where I live now. It's a smaller room, but it's comfortable. I got my stuff everywhere, Art supplies right here, markers, Sharpies, pencils and stuff up here. Got my paints up there for my class. Hat collection. It's small, but I managed to, be comfortable here. Art supplies. That's all I need. My music system, bumping music all the time. When I'm driving, I have to listen to music to feel comfortable. Okay. Eres mío. So now we have Good because Uncle Chewy, he's a clown. Vamos a chingarle. Since the last time we met, let's see, I got a job, thank God. I started going to school again because I wasn't going to school during that time. I started going to Central High. I went to Mexico for a little bit. My dad told me I was going on a vacation. I don't know what happened because, first week I got there, I started working. So I don't know what kind of vacation that was. It was a good experience meeting Chaz. I haven't met other artists that experienced as him. I mean, he's a tagger though. That's what's cool. Like, he's an old tagger, like from back in the day. So that's pretty cool. And those are, that's his right there. I had that up on my wall. I never seen someone do letters like that before. I got him, and I never had seen that. That is old school right there. Cause you don't see no one with that kind of stuff. Not nowadays, not nowadays. Okay, she was doing the documentary. Oh, we're doing it right now, fool. We're probably gonna go to Griffith Park or something. That lady right there was sitting in the van.
What? I know, she was straight fucking pissing in the van.
Like, I had this because we let the van open, right? And we're upstairs, right? We're taking everything out. So then like, he tells us, like, there's someone in the van. So I looked at the window, yeah, what's the lady sitting in the van? So I called outside, so I didn't even put shoes on, I came out of my socks, so I'm like, at the van.
I was wondering why she was so short. Like the same cord.
Nah, there's no ambulance coming.
And what was wrong with her? What was wrong with her? I don't know. I think she was giving birth or something. Bye. Hey. Bye, Georgie. Dude, what the hell's that on your mouth, man? Seriously. Serious mouth.
Goodbye.
Bye. Done and done.
Where? Sit over there?
Wherever.
You want to drive?
Snow?
Yo, give her the water, man. Me tiene que abrir. Hey, how is it?
Huh?
How many do you need?
1
gallon?
One, yeah. And then every time, like, we stop, like right now we're gonna stop, right? Before we go, I have to put water in it again. That's why I got all those guns of water. Yeah, because it overheats.
I thought it was like some kind of fucking like keep the mosquitoes away shit.
It overheats.
No smoking, no soccer, no what? Bicycle. What the hell is there to do here?
No
then?
alcoholic beverages.
Ah, hell
So you guys want to take the speaker so we can listen to the music?
Yeah. No, it's really, that's really the stuff that I come up with when I'm with these cats, like trying to keep them lightened up, like keep them happy and shit, I suppose.
From what I see in schools, it's like they cut all these programs now, art, music, and whatever other extracurricular things they had going on before. They don't have that anymore, and they don't give these kids a chance to like try something different, Like, I don't know, maybe this is the next best actor, that ever lived. We don't know that. Why? Because he has none of that at school.
Why do you like tagging?
It's a weird expression. So you can get fame. People start knowing you.
Easy fame.
Start hearing about you.
I mean, if they would have a place for these kids to go and like write and do what they really want to do without having reprisal or
it's a bomb yard.
Or a bomb yard, or without fools going up in there trying to hate on these guys. I mean, I'm pretty sure these guys would do some really nice stuff. The cities are fed up with graffiti, so, and then they try to put the stiffest fines on us, huh? So I said,
not really a big deal, just a wall. Not really like really killing somebody or something, raping somebody.
people just trying to express themselves somehow in this stupid world where the only thing that's valuable is being seen, period.
My idea of what I'm gonna do for this drawing is I'm gonna draw a character with his hands out holding a fairy, because of there's this one story that me and my friends read before, that how at the beginning of time everything used to be peaceful. Yeah, because the story goes like some person came to give a box. They gave it to the one fool called Illuminates, yeah.
No, like they told them, here you gotta keep it, but don't open it. Don't ever open it. Ever. Illuminates get to playmate Pandora, and she's curious about the box. And then she opens the box, but Illuminates kind of let her too. And then they let all the bad things out, like bad things. Like
cholesterol.
yeah. And then at the end, this fairy comes out, and her name is Hope. You remember when we read Pandora's Box?
Oh yeah.
The last little fairy that comes out, that her name is Hope.
Yeah.
He wants to draw them.
I just think that there's always a need for a kind of a renegade art school.
Open it up just to call it Chouinard and try to reach back in time and bring some of those elements to force today. It may not be a realistic concept. It's nice if they honor Nelbert Chouinard because she had a vision.
Save the children. Please save
see now what we are doing to them? Oh, please save the children. Oh, please save the children. Can't you see now what we have done? We've given them no vision of tomorrow. We just taught them to beg, steal, and borrow. Oh, can't you see now what we have done? Oh, please save the children. Please save the children. Can't you see now what we are doing to them? Please save the children. Oh, please save the children. Oh, can't you see now what we have done? We've taught them to live in a fairy tale. We've taught them that our souls were for sale. Oh, can't you see now what we have done? Oh, please save the children. Please save the children. Can't you see now what we are doing to